Hey everybody, happy Sunday. It's Pastor Josh again from Denellen Community Church. We are going to continue our youth series on healing, which is a very important topic for us to talk about, especially with everything that's going on in the world the way it is right now. So last week we started up our lesson series. This week we are going to focus on something that is kind of a trick that Satan tries to play on us. He tries to make us think that even though God might be able to heal people, that, we shouldn't bother him, that, God doesn't have time for us. He's so busy running the whole universe that he doesn't have time to heal you or help you in your situation. And that is just completely untrue. We can tell that from the Bible and the stories of Jesus and what happened in his life. So with that being said, we're going to start off with our first video, the intro video, and listen to our YouTuber talk about this topic. See you soon.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite YouTuber Ashton here for another video. As always, if you like my videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Now let's get started. We are at, wow, we're almost at 100,000 subscribers. That's amazing. Oh, wait. My bad, it's only 6 subscribers. Well, we'll get there someday. Okay, let's look at one of your questions. Mork the Dork asks, hey Ashton, how do you make slime? Great question, Mork the Dork. Let's take a quick search and see. Okay, it looks like you need glue, contact solution, baking soda, water, shaving cream, and food coloring. Let me go see what I have around my house. Okay, I'm back. I've got good news and bad news. The good news is we're going to make some slime today, but the bad news is I couldn't really find any of the ingredients we needed, so I just got some stuff to use instead. Now remember, the real recipe calls for glue, contact solution, baking soda, water, shaving cream, and food coloring. But instead I have maple syrup. That's sticky, right? It's basically the same thing as glue. And then I have hand sanitizer. That should work. Diet soda instead of baking soda. Oh, I did get water, which is in the real recipe, so we're totally on the right track. And then I have whipped cream instead of shaving cream, which is basically the same thing. And I couldn't find any food coloring, so I just got this old crayon from one of my old backpacks. This is totally gonna work. Let's mix it up. Well, I tried mixing all of this together and instead of slime, I think I got something that's really more like just a sludge. Let's just get another question. Droolmaster23 asks, hey Ashton, I know God has a lot to do, being God and all, so is he too busy to heal me? Huh, what a great question. Sometimes I wonder that myself. We should jump on the internet and see if there was a time in the Bible where Jesus was too busy to heal someone. Was Jesus too busy for people? Oh, there's a lot of hits on this. It looks like after he was done preaching one time, Jesus fed everyone with a ton of bread and fish. Ooh, and here's one where he stopped what he was doing to heal a guy that was lowered through the roof. That must have been crazy to see. So it looks like Jesus made time for people while he was here on earth. I wonder if he still does that. I think your lesson today is going to cover that exact question. I can't wait to find out. Well, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Ashton, do you know where my big bowl is?
Yeah. I hope you don't need it soon.
All right, so our Bible story this week is from the New Testament. It's about Jesus and his life and some of the stuff that he did. So we know that Jesus was a great teacher and he was teaching people about God and about God's love. And somebody runs up to Jesus and he's like, I need your help. My daughter is sick and she's dying. And if you don't come right now, she's just going to die. And so Jesus said, all right, lead the way. Let's go take care of it. I can heal your daughter. And so because he was teaching, he had a good crowd of people there with him. And so these people just kind of followed because they were like, whoa, this is going to be awesome. We're listening to this guy talk, and now we're also going to be able to see him work a miracle. That's amazing. And so it was almost like a little procession, like a parade. And all these people were crowding around Jesus as he was following this guy to his house to heal his daughter. And along the way, they're going through town and they're gathering more and more people. And there was this woman who had been dealing with an illness for most of her life. The Bible doesn't go into specifically what her illness was, except for that it was about her blood, and that she just couldn't stop bleeding. Now, some of you guys probably have gotten cuts and stuff like that on your fingers, or your arms, or your feet, and it hurts, but then it stops bleeding, get Band-Aids on it, whatever, and it fixes it up. She just couldn't stop bleeding, and it just kept going for years and years and years and years and years. And of course, this made her very, very sick. And so nothing that she did, nobody that she went and saw, no doctors, nobody could help her out. And so Jesus was kind of her last hope. And so she's heard about Jesus before. She sees this procession, this parade going through the street with Jesus, and she's thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I could get healed. And she believed it so strongly that she thought in her head, she was like, you know what? I don't even have to bother him. I don't want to bother Jesus. He's very busy. He's doing things. He's an important person. If I could just get close enough to touch his robe, then I know that'll help me, and that'll change my life. It'll heal me. And so as she went through, keep in mind, we're not sure how old this person was, but because she had this blood disease, she probably was weak and frail. She had a hard time doing stuff, very likely. And she had to fight against this crowd. And so she's in this crowd. She's trying to get to Jesus. She finally gets to him and reaches out and touches that robe. And Jesus just was like, whoa, wait. Who touched me? And then the disciples, the apostles, they're like, Jesus, we're in a huge crowd of people. I'm sure a lot of people touched your clothing, touched you. And Jesus said, no, you're not hearing me. Somebody touched me, and I felt power go out of my body. I felt somebody receive healing. Now remember, he's on his way to go to some place to heal somebody else, but he stopped, and he's making an issue over who touched him. And the woman came forward. I'm sure she was very, very scared and nervous, thinking that she did something wrong. And she said that I'm the one that touched you. And Jesus just was extremely kind to her. And he said, that her faith is what healed her. She believed so strongly that Jesus is just being in his presence, without even asking him really, was enough to activate God's miracles. And that's exactly what happened. She was healed because her faith was so strong that God saw that and that contact with Jesus, and it just activated a miracle like that, almost automatically. So that's kind of a cool story. And, told her to go on her way and that, to have a good life and all that good stuff. And then even though they took a break there to talk to that woman and help her with her healing, there was still enough time for Jesus to go and get to this guy's house. His name was Jairus. To go to Jairus' house and heal his daughter. So even though the apostles were probably thinking, some of them, or some of the people in the crowd, were thinking, you know what, this is kind of a time-critical thing. This is important. We got to get to there and save this little girl. Why is he talking to this woman? Well, because Jesus knew. Jesus knew that he had plenty of time, that he was going to be able to help out everybody because he's God. And God always has time. So that's going to kind of set up our lesson for today. Here comes Boudreaux with the What You Gotta Know for this week. And I'll see you in a minute.
What you gotta know, what you gotta know. Time for Boudreaux, what you gotta know. What you gotta know, what you gotta know. Time for Boudreaux, what you gotta know.
Hey, what's up, kids? It's Boudreaux here. That's pronounced Boudreaux. And I'm here to tell you what you gotta know. Today, we're answering the very next question in our healing series. Is God too busy to heal me? So anytime today you hear somebody ask you what you gotta know, you tell them this: God ain't too busy to heal me. God's got a lot to do. That's a huge job that he has. I mean, he's got a lot to do. Every single morning, he's got to get up and turn on the sun, make sure that the world keeps spinning round and round and round, and make sure all the woodland creatures got a little afternoon snack. I mean, that's a lot to do. You know, even though he's got a whole lot to do and he's got a real full plate, he ain't too busy to hear the prayers of children. Hey, guy, are you listening to me? Of course he's listening every single time. He hears you and he wants to heal you. So, every time you hear somebody ask you what you gotta know, you tell them this: God ain't too busy to heal me. Well, and that right there is what you gotta know. I'm Boudreaux from the Bayou saying, bye-bye, you.
All right, so what should we remember this week to help us to get through and activate God's healing, help us to not feel like that God is too busy to help us out? Well, you know, God doesn't really have a to-do list, you know. Sometimes, you know, around Pastor Josh's house, you know, some projects have to get done, and, you know, there's a list, you know, and a lot of times it's Miss Angie who makes that list. But, you know, it's, you know, a to-do list for Pastor Josh is like, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. And so I've got all these things I have to do because I have to do all those things on that list in order, because I can't just be everywhere at once, right? I got to do things one at a time, finish them off, check them off my list. God doesn't have a list like that. God is all-powerful. He's all-seeing. He's all-knowing. The word is omnipotent, which means he is effective everywhere at all times, and all-powerful. So he doesn't have a to-do list. You're not bothering him if you ask him for help, because he can do lots of different things at once. Okay? So here's what you need to remember. All right? First, don't let anything keep you from Jesus. Don't let anything keep you from asking for his help or his healing. All right? That woman who had the blood illness, she was scared. She was weak, physically weak. And there was like a rule in their, like a law in their culture that said that if you had certain illnesses, like this blood illness, that you weren't even allowed to be around people. And here she is pushing through a crowd to try to get to Jesus and touch his robe. I'm sure she was scared about that stuff too, but you know what? She did it because she just knew that Jesus could help her out. So did she break a few rules? Sure. You know, there are, you know, in some places you might have to go against the grain a little bit to get to Jesus, you know? That's, you know, one of the great things about living in our country is that, you know, we have religious freedom, so people can't really stop us from reaching out for Jesus. Sometimes we stop ourselves. So that's the first thing. Don't let anything keep you from Jesus. The second thing is he always has time for us. Remember, he made time. So, literally invented time. So, he has plenty of time for us. He stopped what he was teaching to go and heal somebody because he knew that he had the time to do it. He stopped along the way to Jairus' house to talk to this woman and minister to her and help her feel like that she hadn't stolen a blessing, that it was something that she deserved because of her faith. You know? So he always has time for us. Doesn't matter how many millions of people on earth are praying to God and asking for his help and his guidance and his healing, it's still that he has time for us. And that's so, so important. And the third thing to remember is that one touch from God can change everything. You know? All that she had to do, all that woman who was ill had to do was just reach for Jesus. And he didn't have to look for her. She was just there and she was reaching for Jesus, trying to get help from him, and she received it. Without Jesus hardly even doing anything. And that's the same thing for us. All we have to do is have that desire to be healed. And remember, we're not talking about just physical healing with illnesses or injuries. We're talking about emotional stuff, like in our hearts, or stuff that's going on in our heads and our brains. It's important that we ask him to heal situations in our lives, bad things that are happening. God's healing is not just about, oh, help me when my tummy hurts. It is about, help me when I'm sad. Help me when I don't know what to do and I'm scared and I'm confused. Healing happens there too. All right? And when God heals us, a lot of times it doesn't look like we thought it would, like say if, you are hurting because you lost a family member, and you pray for God's healing in that situation. He's not going to bring them back from the dead, but he will help you to heal from that and get better. And maybe you down the road can help somebody else who is dealing with the loss of a family member, or somebody who's been really sick for a long time. Healing looks different in a lot of different ways. Who knows? That woman was probably just looking for a little bit of help that day. She might not have even been looking for help for her whole life, and Jesus healed her that way. So those are your 3 things to remember. Don't let anything keep you from Jesus. He always has time for us, and one touch changes everything. All right? So here comes the actor with your power verse for today.
Yes, thank you. Oh, you're too kind. Please, hold your applause. Yes, I am the actor, and I'm here to teach today's power verse. So without further ado, let's get to it. In his unfailing love, my God will come and help me. Psalm 59:10. What a stupendous power verse. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that you will never forget your lines, or the power verse in this instance, if you say them completely in character. To help us, let's select today's character from our character box. Ah, yes! Today's character we will be playing is a truck driver with a goose stuck in its throat. Acting, thank you! It doesn't say that at all. Today's character is actually a robot. Ha! Beep boop, beep boop. I am a robot. Boys and girls, please stand with me on the count of 3 and say today's power verse in character. Like a robot. 1, 2, 3. In his unfailing love, my God will come and help me. Psalm 59:10. Acting, thank you. That was fantastic. You're on your way to becoming as great of a method actor as I am. Acting, thank you. You believed me, but no one will be as great of an actor as I am, for I am the greatest method actor in all of the world. I'll see you later, boys and girls. Exit stage left.
All right, guys, so that wraps up the lesson for this week. I hope everybody is staying nice and safe and healthy out there. I really, really, really miss you guys, and I can't wait to see you all in person. Just remember that God is never too busy to help us or to heal us in our situations. And I know it seems like it's taken a long time for all of this situation that's happening in the world to heal and get better and change, but you never know what kind of good stuff is coming out of this, you know? A lot of families are getting closer together. A lot of people are talking to each other, talking to people they've never talked to or they haven't talked to in years, and reconnecting and establishing relationships. People are helping each other more. People are reaching out and helping people who, you know, maybe would have thought more of themselves instead of other people around them. So I know it seems kind of weird and scary sometimes out there, but good stuff is happening too. So Jesus and God, you know, and the Holy Spirit are all, I think, working through this time of hardship for our people to help us to get better, you know? I use this example a lot in class. You know, when you do sports, you know. When you do sports, you have to practice. And practice isn't very much fun sometimes. Sometimes it's a lot of work. Sometimes it's exhausting. Sometimes you feel like you're not sure if you want to keep going. But then it's worth it when you go to your competition. You go to the game, or you go to your match, and you play and you win. You do really, really well. That's when it shows that going through that hard stuff before actually helps you down the road. So I feel like that's what God is doing for us right now. All right, guys, make sure you wash your hands. Make sure you love each other. I love you. God loves you. Have a wonderful week.